Hi, welcome back to Reflections with Clinton Lindsay. And as I said to you in the opening, we have a very special guest and the living legend in terms of Carlene Davis. Carlene Davis, welcome.
Oh, it's a joy and a pleasure to be with you today.
Listen,
Yes.
we have done a few radio interviews over the years.
That's right.
This is our first, and see with me, this is my first. I'm in my second month of doing this television show, so bear with me.
No problem. No problem.
Now, I usually like to go back the first time when I meet someone, and I'm gonna take you back to 1980. There was a show at the Beacon Theater in New York City, starring Dennis Brown.
That's right.
And special guest, I've heard the name before because Ken Williams was playing your rendition of The Harder They Come.
That's right.
And my curiosity got the best of me because I've seen Dennis over and over, but I wanted to see what this Carlene Davis looks like and sound like live. And my dear, when you came on stage, I knew I saw star quality. But I knew if more records come out, you will be what you have become today.
Amen.
Do you remember that event?
How can I forget it? It was my first major, having just finished Sunsplash 1980 at Ronnie Williams Center. Ken Williams was there, and I was just 1 foot in and 1 foot out between Canada and Jamaica.
Right.
And Ken was at the event, and he saw me and he said, "We'd love to have you at this event at Beacon Theater in New York." And I didn't hesitate because I was getting my foot wet in the reggae industry from Jamaica, because prior to that I was based in Canada. So that song was recorded with Babsy Grange, who is now a Minister of Culture and Entertainment, while she was managing me in Canada. And she returned home and I was just back and forth. So Beacon Theater was a huge open door for me.
Were you surprised at the reception you got, being that you were just coming out as you were explaining?
You know, I was excited. I felt very blessed because I was unknown to a lot of people, but there was something in my style of reggae that was attracting the reggae listeners. You know, coming with something fresh and different. I mean, we had all the other female artists who were doing it. The Marcy is doing it. Sister Judy, Sister Rita, and all of them. And then here comes Carlene Davis with something different.
Now, when Ken approached you at Ronnie Williams Center, did he tell you were gonna open for Dennis Brown?
I'm not sure what he told me. All I know was going to be in New York at the Beacon Theater, and that was enough for me because, of course, we all knew Dennis loved his music, and just being in New York in that setting, you know, and of course, right there we had the likes of Bob Marley, who was in New York working on his last album, and he was outside ready to come into the theater once the show started.
Almost came in, but with the excitement and the distraction.
And we know what the distraction was. And Dennis didn't show up for the night.
Yes. And that was just like the first time seeing you, and then I haven't forgotten what I saw that night. When I first I was in college at the time.
Wow.
And I was on college radio.
Yes.
And in those days, Carly, I would have a press pass issued by the school, not by the New York Police Department. And you know, you walk up and, you know, I'm Clinton Lindsay, I'm here to cover the show. And you show them your press pass. This is not New York, $35. So I have to pay my money in those days.
Oh my goodness.
But another thing with you now, but first time I got on public radio, my first day I was able to play, I think, 12 songs. And on that list, you know what? You had a song that was so outstanding at the time. The song was Like Old Friends Do. You were on my playlist for my first radio show in New York City. Say so long, may I follow you?
Yeah, man, a long time.
Like old friends duos on my playlist with other songs, Gregory Isaacs, tune in and those other things. But over the years, you have become one of the outstanding female vocalists. What and as you know, it's a male-dominated business. Was it hard for you to get established?
I didn't look at the hard side of it. I looked at every open door that I saw. And every time I stepped in, I just gave my 110%. Because I knew that I had sacrificed so much up until then, gave up my 9 to 5 and said this was it. Come hell or high water, as the expression goes, that I was going to make it in this industry. And so even returning to Jamaica was a sacrifice, because at one point I was still paying rent in Canada and paying rent in Jamaica, trying to survive off the little that was coming in. But I didn't watch that. I just saw it as sowing seeds. And with every opportunity and every open door that I saw, I stepped in and gave my best.
Were you, with that said, what I think opened the door, and I'm sure just about everybody would agree, Paul Kelly of this wicked, it was one of those underground hits in New York. You go to private parties, you go to basement parties, and there was a song called Stealing Love on the Side. And when I heard Ken Williams play that song, I said, Carlene Davis. That's Carlene Davis. First of all, how did you come by choosing that song, and why did you?
I'm going to do it, try and reduce it
please.
And give it to you.
Yeah.
I heard the song while I was in Canada. My girlfriend, Lil, every time I went over to visit her, she says, here's this song. I love it. Why don't you do it? And I said, I don't like the message. I'm not, I come to Jamaica now, and Babsy's managing me. And Tommy and we started, I got to know Tommy, and Tommy's working at Tough Gong as the marketing manager with Bob Marley. And he said, Carlene, he called me one morning and he said, I hear this song, but it's you I hear singing it. Nobody else but Carlene. It's your voice I hear in it. And he said, let's go in the studio. I said, okay, let's talk to Babsy and see how we can work it out. And then Tommy called me back a few days later and said, guess what? I can't produce this song because Tyrone, what's his name? Tyrone Taylor had done a version, and it was just now being released by Tough Gong. And he said,
I didn't know Tyrone Taylor did a version.
I can't do it. Is that what? That's correct, Tom. He says, I can't do it. I don't think it's right. So he called Neville Lee, and he said, Neville, I hear this song. I think you need to call Carlene and let her record the song because I know it's a hit. And that's how that song was recorded.
So with that background, were you surprised of how that song went international?
Well, you need to ask, why did I choose to sing that song at that time?
And so convincingly.
Yes, what happened is I had a dream just days before, amazingly, that I had this song. I heard the dream says it's time for you to go in the studio.
Right. And
I says, wow. So when Tommy called me, I said, well, this must be the song. So I didn't look at the message of the song. I said, okay, I just need to go and do this song.
Right.
That's what we did. And how it happened, I was doing the North Coast, singing the North Coast hotels, just to tie in until my recording career in Jamaica took off. And I remember coming in, flying back from doing some gig on the North Coast into Kingston, and went straight from the flight into the studio to record this song.
So was it late at night? What mood were you in? Because
I think I had a cold. I remember I had a bit of a stuffiness in my vocals. And so you can hear it in the song, but that whatever happened with the sound and the tone of my voice,
magical.
It's just magical.
Yes.
And I didn't get caught up with the fact that, oh no, I can't go in the studio because I have a cold. For me, I just needed to do what I had to do. I know the timing was right, and it was time to move. And all of the elements came together with Lloyd Parks on bass, right, Tommy? I think Robbie Lynn on keyboards, and who else was on it? Who else was playing drums? I think it was Devon Richardson at the time from We the People. And
I mean, all the right people were in place.
Were in place for that.
It has now become, in a way, your signature song.
Signature song in so many different
You are
genre.
right, because I remember like 3 years ago you sent me
A modified,
yes,
transformed version of
yeah.
that song, because to tell you the truth, we had a show in Barbados, a festival in Barbados, and I was told that that was a song that they were using because it was about icons of reggae.
Right.
And when I was doing the interview, when I was rehearsing for the show, Tommy said, "You know what? We need to prepare a version that speaks of where you are today as a child of God, you know, and explain to your audience that this is where I was, but this is where I am now." And that's what we did. And once the drum roll took off, the people ran to the front of the stage. Of course, they got a new version of it, and they were just as excited. And I heard when I left the platform, they just went straight into the original. The sound man just dropped
out of respect, of course. Out of respect.
Yes.
And your
praising God all the time. That's the new version.
That's the new version.
Yes, yes.
And your journey is a very interesting one, because when I hear you do song like Brother Bob, and another song that was a song that had a message that was unreal at the time was Winnie Mandela. And you know, at that time, most Jamaican artists, most of them were doing tribute songs to Mandela, and he was still in prison.
Yes.
Did you expect the kind of reaction for Winnie Mandela? I mean, even the video was one of the most watched videos in Jamaica.
Thank you. I just think, you know, when you have a conviction, you're not looking at what might or could. You just felt it was time to make a statement in what you believe in and support the cause. Because everything you do, you should have a humanitarian arm to it.
Yes.
And I believe that song, Winnie Mandela, which was drawing people, because we never saw Nelson in prison, but we saw Winnie on the streets fighting and speaking up, and then how we ended up singing that song, or Tommy writing that song. He came off tour 1 year of Reggae Sunsplash with a book, and the title of that book was her autobiography that said, "Part of my soul went with him," and it was speaking of her life with Nelson from the day they met, they get married, and he was thrown in jail. And we both broke down. We were just totally in tears, literally. And Tommy came back with the lyrics of that song off tour, and he said, "I need to finish this song," and we did just that. Went in the studio and recorded it, and we just felt we had a responsibility to support the fight against apartheid.
I was told in 1993, after Mandela was released on his first trip to Jamaica, a few birdies told me one of the prime minister and the minister of all of that thing, but they wanted to meet Carlene Davis.
Yes.
How was that? You did meet with them, and how was it?
It was like, you just felt, oh my God, you just never thought you'd live to see, because he had been languishing in prison for so long. We just thought it would never happen in our lifetime. And just to see them and to stand with them and for them to say it was your music, and it wasn't just my music, they meant the music from Jamaica that helped to motivate and strengthen them to know that they're not alone. You know, and I have a wonderful picture of Winnie embracing me. I mean, I treasure that.
You know what? I wish I was like a fly on the wall. When you first met you and Winnie, what did you say to her? What did she? You remember what?
There was just so much going on. There were so many people in the room, but it was just the hug. That hug said it all. You know, and she whispered in my ear and just say, "Your music. Thank you for your music. Your music was what strengthened me through the process." You know, and if you remember when they drove in on the Motorcade International Stadium, it was the song in tribute to Nelson now called "Welcome Home, Mr. Mandela."
I was about to bring that up, because then you got the Jamaicans to provide background vocals on that song.
Yes.
And that was the first time I remember playing that song, and it's Carlene, but my excitement for that song was that you had the original Jamaicans.
It was Tommy and and we recorded it in England. That song was recorded in England when we heard of his release from prison. We were in England doing an album, and we recorded that song. And when he arrived at the National Stadium, there was such an uproar.
Yes.
It was a free event.
Yes.
The whole nation was welcome, but people were scaling the wall.
Yeah.
So it was causing such a ruckus.
Yeah, first come, first serve. Because I remember when he came to Yankee Stadium in the Bronx.
Yes.
It was the same reaction. I mean, the place was packed.
Exactly. And Babsy, to avoid any major, incident, because the police had to rush towards the crowd to push them back to avoid any upheaval.
Right.
And Babsy rushed and says, Carlene, I know it's not time for you to go and stage it, because at the time she led the Jamaica Cultural Development Association. She ran backstage and said, Carlene, you have to come on stage now. And she brought on all the other artists who were due to be on. And we all sang, Welcome home, Mr. Mandela, welcome home.
No, memories, it's just great memories. One of the things that I admire about you, Carlene, you tend to be one of those artists that really study the craft of what you do. Like, I can't say I've known any bad songs that you have put out. I remember, I think it was 1982, 83, the festival competition. And you had a song called One People. What is the name of the song?
Okay. One People was in tribute, it was for our Jamaica 21st independence. But I also had entered festival with a song called Love and Harmony.
Love and Harmony.
1982.
1982.
Yes.
Now, One People was a song very patriotic. You wrote that song, or
it was written by a friend of mine called Pat Persad.
Okay, yes.
And she had the song, and she says, Carlene, I don't know, I just hear you singing this song. And so we decided to do it.
When you decide to record, because you do original and you do adaptations. When you do adaptations, what do you look for in a song?
I'm led to re-record someone else's song when it impacts my life.
Okay.
When you've had a personal experience with it. Just like Old Friends Do. Or
but you do such a good job with that song that people like me and other experts will know it's a cover song, but the average person
would
not know.
Because we extended it, we revamped it and added bridge to it, because and just to make it your own.
You take it very seriously. Like, if you're gonna adapt a song, you just don't adapt it as is.
As is. You make it your own, because what's the point? It has to come from within, from your heart.
Right.
And One People, I just want to say this, as a Jamaican who grew up, left Jamaica as a child, went to England, Canada, and then back home. When the whole thing, you want to be part of who you are, no matter where you are. And then when I came back to Jamaica, I just wanted to lay my foundation, because I'd left, when I was so young. And so One People was my reflection of
coming back home.
Right. For we are one people, we come from many lands, sad and happy years are gone, celebrating 21. Out of many, we are one.
Now, let me ask you, you talk about this a lot in stuff that I've read about, you've seen you on TV. When you left Jamaica your first place you went was England.
Yes.
Why was that?
Well, my parents had migrated, and so we were left with our grandparents, as most Jamaicans in Caribbean, with a family member. So that's what brought us home, what brought us into England to join my parents.
How long were you there
I did nearly 10 years in England.
And then
I did high school and college, and then moved on to Canada.
And why Canada?
I had an opportunity to visit, and I stayed.
You liked it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's where my career became more full-time and on a professional level. But I was dabbling in England from I was in high school, part of this school band, and I had an all-girls school band. And then, of course, on the weekends, I used to be part of a group called the Toreadors.
Toreadors.
It's like a two-man band.
Who was in that group?
I was just a male and a female, two guys and myself.
And yourself, okay.
So it's almost like a two-man band with me leading.
In some of your songs, you talk about the restriction from listening to radio in your home. That was in Jamaica. You couldn't listen to the radio. It was church and
certain songs. Because of the upbringing, it was strict and not so strict. You had a freedom, because my grandfather was an avid musician. So he played out before we were born. He used to be like one of those guys that did the street dances. Came back from Cuba with a whole heap of instruments: a cello, guitar, clarinet, saxophone. And so I was his singer. He played every evening and I would be his lead vocalist.
My question to you, what instrument do you play?
I dabble with the guitar.
You dabble?
Yes, I dabble. I help myself.
Your father there with all these instruments, your grandfather Carlene, and you only dabble?
I dabble and dabble, and I write with it. I write a lot of my songs with it, and every now and again I'll pick up the guitar on a live presentation. Yeah.
Now let's go to the early 90s. You had a song called Dial My Number. And Dial My Number, I remember playing that song, the straight reggae version of it. And then a couple months later, them sent me, I think it was Profile or whosoever sent me a remix version of it.
So it was G Street Records,
Who
are now called G Jam Music, yeah.
And that was a different song. Now that song took you to a different demographic, a different audience. What was that like when hip hop community started playing that song? And
it was exciting, because it's what you dream of, to get that breakthrough in mainstream radio. And so it was an exciting time for me. It was the David Morales mix of Dial My Number. And then there was a British version, D-Flex mix for the British market.
I didn't know that, really.
Yes, and that's another take. Another amazing take.
I mean, that song must have sold a good, must have gone gold when you put all the numbers together.
Yes, it did.
It did.
It opened doors. It opened many doors. BET was rocking it. Both the video and of course, but it
Hip Hop Radio in New York City was also doing that song.
Yes.
So I remember about 1997. I got a call from X News. I was writing for X News. Could be 96, 97. And they told me I need to come to Jamaica because I was the only one they could think to cover this event. And I'm like, with all the people there, who have done them, me if you come to Jamaica? No, they said, no, Mr. Lindsay, you know the history. It was Carlene Davis, Judy Mowat, Junior Tucker, at that school right off of the turn Washington Boulevard, that high school.
You mean
Constant Spring Road?
Yes. Merle Grove?
Yes. That's when I was told that there gotta be a major gospel concert.
Right.
You remember that?
It was one of our earlier breakthrough as Glory Music, when we had recommitted our lives, and they sent for you. Oh my God!
I
remember seeing you in the parking lot. Yes,
exactly. I reviewed that show.
So it was me and Judy were the main acts.
Yes.
And possibly San.
Yes, San was on it. Junior Tucker
and Junior was backstage.
Yes.
Not yet committed.
Okay.
But was just in tears backstage.
Right.
And we just knew God was doing a work through him. And he asked, we said, would you like to come up and just sing a song?
Right.
And he did. And that was where he just said, yes,
when did
Lord.
You get your moment? I've spoken to quite a few artists who have, have their conversion or committed. When did you get yours, and how do you know it was?
It was in 1996 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I knew there was nowhere else to go but to run to the Lord.
Right.
With all the love and support that I have with Tommy, my husband, and my family, and the body of Christ, the church, because I was attending church nevertheless, but it was more like one foot in and one foot out. But that was when I said, God, I'm through with running from you. I look to you, I run to you, use me as your vessel.
Right.
And that was my prayer to the Lord.
Nice. Yes. And since then, I know you got, like the rest of them, got a lot of criticism, career failed and more money than so on. Did that ever bother you when you hear people say those things?
You know what? It didn't bother me because I said I know where I've been, where I am, and where I'm going, and I know what I've been through. So I can't watch what man is saying and doing. I have to stay focused on who I am and who I am in Christ, and let Him lead me. And I laugh at it now. It's funny that you share that. I laugh at that because I said, it's not the first time that I had made my commitment as a younger person coming up and I walked away. So I was just saying, ain't nothing gonna separate me from this love of God.
Great. You know, we could sit here and talk. Well,
but you said something.
Yeah.
And I have to say it. I missed it. What, in terms of how I'm able to sing and deliver my music and record, God has blessed me with some great people, and I must say people like my husband Tommy Cowan, who was able to invest in me, you know, even what you see on stage and what we do from the recording studio, he has a lot to do with it, to bring out the best in me, you know, and others like Babsy Grange, who I've worked for before, working with Tommy, and so many others.
What's the relationship with you and Babsy now? I know she's like the most active, successful minister. When people from both sides can say she are the best, I hear it said by people from the PMP side and artists on the JLP side. What's your relationship with her now?
Beautiful. I mean, we do share a lot, you know. She draw on me for a lot, and I draw on her when there's a need, you know, and we're like family. We're like family, because she's also the godmother to my son, so, you know.
Speaking about your son, how is your mini-me?
My mini-me,
Your mini-me.
she is absolutely fabulous.
Oh, she is fantastic.
Naomi Cowan, yes. I give God thanks for what God is doing through her, and that she has humbled herself to learn from us, and is using it to her advantage, you know. And
your last album, Blood.
The Assignment. The Assignment is my last album.
What, that was like a different album. That was from the previous album, the one before, the Dripping
Blood was the one that made it, went as far as number 2 on the Billboard reggae chart.
I remember that.
Stayed there for over 10 weeks in the top 10.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Right. And The Assignment did well for you also.
It's still, I mean, I just ministered in church yesterday, and can I tell you, the response online is just amazing when I hit that song. The assignment God has for me
I play that
is greater than what man thinks. And we recorded it before COVID, but the line that says, there's a battle going on, but I have my assignment.
Yes.
Trying to, what is it, Tommy? Trying to steal my destiny. But I have my assignment.
I just played that song last week sometime saying, where you have your assignment, you just have your assignment.
No matter what.
And one of your songs, and I remember talking to you about it in one of my radio interviews with you. When it comes to DJing, you don't joke with that, Carly. Where you learn for DJ, sir?
Well, when you have people like Papa San around you, you know, over the years, it's hard, and you know, you learn from those.
That song with Lady Saw.
Yes. Pray for you. Yeah, man.
And you were just kicking up. I'm like, hey, Carlene, watch it, because Lady Saw is supposed to be the DJ, and you were just DJing on that. But you have a new song now that we just got last week. Jah will wipe away all the tears. Tell us about that.
Well, you know, we're in the process of doing another album. And you know, during COVID, we've been locked in the studio. There was nowhere else to go, eh?
Wow.
So we've been working on some songs, and this song just stuck out. We've not finished the album yet, but this song, it was just spontaneous. The melody that was flowing. Tommy was laying the demo, and I joined him in the studio, just adding songs. And we're saying, wait, what's going on here with this song? We studio at home, and we said, no, we have to let it go now. And the timing is perfect. We're just coming out of that serious lockdown of COVID, and so many people have lost their loved ones and are still challenged. But we're just reminding ourselves that no matter what, it is the word of God that says He will wipe away all tears. When we believe and trust and just walk in faith and His peace that passes all understanding. To guard our hearts and mind. He shall wipe away. Just trust him.
Now, you're
and it's in Nyabingi, as you know.
Yes. You were in town for this big show this past weekend. And even though you didn't perform per se, but it was nice seeing you. And I want to thank you for passing through the studio.
It was a joy.
This is my first television show. I'm in my second month.
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
But you know, you and Tommy, we go, like I said, I first saw you 42 years ago. Put a number on it. 1980.
Wow.
And I've been very supportive because I just like what you're doing.
Thank you.
I just want to say, continue doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
And as soon as you mix and master, you have my email, I have everything for me.
You know, I know where to find you. You know where to find me. So.
And when I come to Jamaica sometime July or August, I'm going to call up you guys.
Please.
And
so we can do something while you're there.
Last time I was down, as a matter of fact, you came by the hotel to see me.
That's right.
You and Tommy came by the, what's that? Pegasus?
That's right.
Pegasus.
That's right. Well, God bless you and thank you, and we look forward to another opportunity where we can just share.
Yes. Carlene Davis.
And look forward to Fun in the Sun, South Florida.
Yes. Just give me all the information. How does it feel when people refer to you as a living legend? What kind of feeling is that?
I don't know. I take it in strides because I say, you know, to whom much is given, much is required. So when you say, I see it as legacy. Passing on what I have learned to the next generation.
And you're doing that quite well with your mini-me.
Mini-me, Naomi, Paradise Plum.
Yeah, she looks, I mean, when people see her, they see you.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no, I wonder. It's just so plain to see.
That's the grace of God. That's the grace of God.
Thank you very
so much. God bless you. Thank you for having us.
Sure.
Amen.
So that's it. Carlene Davis. As I said, each week we try to have outstanding guests. Here we are with a living legend. And we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to come back with the South Florida Top 25 and the New York Top 30 after these words.
And Lindsay a promoter. Bring up the biggest set of artists from Jamaica. Like Super Cat and Mr. Early be the doctor. Only for artists, no for them me can't remember. Who can remember when them used to keep Jamaica? The kind of show that used to give out no for water. To reggae artists.